Hello, hello. It's Megan from Manifesting Me. Thanks for joining me. I write, talk about, and teach manifesting. I have a book available for sale on Amazon called The Pocket Guide to Manifesting. I also do custom one-on-one manifesting sessions. I have included a link in the description box if you're interested. Please, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It does help other people find it, and subscribe if you want to know when new videos are posted. So there's something in manifesting that includes acting as if we already have whatever it is that we're after. And when we do that, we're actually activating an energy that draws what we want to us quicker because we're in a space, vibrationally speaking, of feeling, and we've talked about how important feeling is, feeling like we already have the thing we're after, or like we're assured we are going to get it. So there's two things going on there. And one is when we step into a space of, I already have this thing, and I'm acting as if, living my life as if I already have it, that's going to activate our attraction factor and bring what we want to us quicker. There's also that confidence thing. I think confidence is sexy. Cockiness, not so much. But there's something about being confident that what we want also wants us and has our name on it and is coming regardless. And when we are acting in that confident space, I think what it does is it's as if we're able to see beyond our current circumstances and imagine ourselves beyond our current circumstances, which then energetically catapults us to the thing that we want, or the experience, or the person, whatever it is. But it brings us in touch with, lines us up with what we're trying to manifest. So I was listening to an interview recently with Billie Eilish, and she was talking about how she was telling the interviewer that she'd recently recorded a song for a James Bond movie. And she brought something up that was really interesting to me. Being a manifestor, my ears perked right up. She said how she and her brother used to write songs for Bond movies like way long ago. It was just one of the exercises that they did. And so some people might look at that and go, oh gosh, what a coincidence that you ended up getting a song, being asked to do a song for a Bond movie. And I'm going, not so much. It's not a coincidence. They manifested it. Here they were practicing and activating that energy that they're going to need to come up with a song for a Bond movie, right? That's just part of what their exercise involved. And then fast forward however many years, and she gets asked to do a song. So I've heard a lot of stories like that. Jim Carrey, that was a famous story when he was on the Oprah show decades ago. I'm almost shocked at how long ago that was. But he talked about how his way of acting as if he was going to make it big in Hollywood, because he was a struggling actor at the time, was he wrote himself out a check, dated in the future, and he made it out to $1 million. He was demonstrating to the universe that he was confident that he was going to make it, and that he was not just going to make it, he was going to make it at a certain level. Stepping outside of Hollywood, I'll share some things that I did in my own life in a couple different scenarios when I was acting as if and wanting to manifest something I didn't have. In the dating world, when I was going through dry spells and I didn't have any romantic prospects on the horizon, and sometimes that was for 6 months, sometimes it was for a year. Rather than focusing, there was a point where I realized I could either focus on being alone, which of course, whatever we focus on grows, or I could start to sort of feel like I was already in the perfect for me relationship and act like I was. So things like just upgrading what I wore to bed, change away from the ratty old t-shirts and torn sweatpants and step into something that was sexier and that I would actually want to wear around a romantic partner. I made space. I started to clear things out in my closet so that I had room for somebody, imagining that I'd be cohabitating with my perfect for me partner. And giving away things from former romantic interests. So gifts that were given to me and that I was holding on to, maybe less because I wanted to be reminded of the person, because not all relationships end well. And I was maybe holding on to them more out of fear. Like, God, what if nobody ever gives me anything again? What if I never meet another person? And these trinkets from past relationships are all I have to remember that I was once viable and sexy and desirable. Oh my gosh, that's the wrong reason to hold on to them. So I remember I put together like a box of stuff that had been given to me, and I released it. And I was energetically making space for somebody new to enter my life. And when I did those things, and there were a few other steps that I took as well, all of a sudden my dating life got much, much better. And in a very short amount of time, I ended up meeting Jim. So that's what I did on that front. I remember when I wanted to sell my house, and the house wasn't even on the market yet. But in my mind, I wanted to sell it. I wanted to sell it at a certain price that was much, much higher than what I had purchased the house at just 5 or 6 years prior. And that was my goal. And I wanted Jim and I to be able to move to New England and for it to happen kind of in a hurry. So without even putting the house on the market, I knew. Some people might be like, well, of course, but if you're going to put your house in the market, and the market conditions now in the US, houses are selling like that. So imagine before the current market that we're in, when some houses would sit on the market for a year and a half, 2 years with no interest, especially if the price tag was too high. So instead I was acting as if, we sold the house, we got to move. What did I do? House isn't even listed yet. I started packing boxes. Poor Jim. He had to deal with me like packing stuff up and, rooms full of boxes. Sure enough, though, our house sold. We had somebody who wanted to look at the house before it was even officially on the market. And then we ended up selling it within a week and at that higher price point that even my real estate agent had said, I think this is too high. I think you should list the house lower, like at this price point. And I was like, yeah. But this is me we're talking about, so let's manifest something better. And sure enough. So those are two areas. I could give you a lot more, but the thing is, just think about for yourself, what are those act as if things you could start to do? And I want to be careful too and say that there is a fine line when we're acting as if, when we're having that confidence, as if, where we know that this thing is going to come and we're taking steps in our life as if it's actually already happened. Be mindful not to trigger any anxiety in yourself. So an example that I give is, and this question comes up a lot when I give talks out in public, people will say, okay, well, if I want to manifest more money than I have, financial security, I want to feel like I can buy whatever I want to buy whenever I want to buy it, and their money will always be there. And they say, so if I just go out and start spending money right now, acting as if, is that a good idea? And I will always bring it back to, for some people that would be a good idea because they do have that confidence and they can kind of feel without fear that when they spend money, money's going to rush in to kind of fill the gap. Almost the way that the ocean comes in. If you've dug a hole in sand and then the ocean comes in and the water covers it and immediately it fills right in. There are other people who, if they were spending money they didn't have, or possibly charging stuff because they're going, well, hey, I'm supposed to act as if, right? So I'm going to go on a shopping spree. It's going to trigger fear because they're going to see, this debt or whatever it is, whatever is going to trigger them, from spending money they don't have. And that will put them into a lower vibration of fear and all the stuff that comes when we're in those lower vibrations. That doesn't feel good. It feels bad to do that. It feels bad to spend money you don't have for some people. And so if that's happening and we're triggering a bad feeling in ourselves, we're going to attract more stuff that feels bad to us. So just know what your threshold is in the acting as if and go from there. So it takes a little bit of self-reflection and knowing ourselves really well to know just how far can we push it when it comes to acting as if. So that's what I have for you along those lines. I do want to, before we wrap this up, give a little shout out to Karen Reisdorf, who is a licensed real estate agent in the Waldorf, Maryland area. She's also a certified yoga instructor who is incredible at what she does. She had done a social media post a couple weeks ago just out of the blue, my husband actually had to tip me off to it. And she had just said that The Pocket Guide to Manifesting was one of her favorite books. I think she had read it years ago, but it was just such a great thing. And she had a picture of it in her social media. And from that one post, I got so much response and so many books sold that week. It was unbelievable. So I want to thank her. Thank you, Karen, so much for doing that. And also, if you do, live in the Waldorf, Maryland area and you've got a house to sell, by all means contact Karen, because she is on fire when it comes to sales. I mean, here's somebody, she basically quadrupled my book sales for me in a week's time. Unbelievable, from one post. So she is working with an energy where she has the confidence to sell, and she does a great job. I will include her information in the description box of the video if you're interested in learning more or just connecting up with her. And that's what I have for you. Again, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. It helps other people in our community find it. Thank you so much. And until next time, happy manifesting. Take care.